Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indian Debating League. My name is Pranay. I am your host, and today with me we have Adhiraj Singh Johar joining the Circle of Champions, a podcast where we learn from people's lessons when they lose, but also their experiences when they win, so that the next generation can come forward and debate even better. Now, a question in everybody's mind might be, okay, how is Pranay going to introduce Adhiraj? Well, with cases like these, I can just tell you what he's done at the age of 13 years old to make you realize why he's an interesting person to speak to, which is while he's a student in Pathway School, Gurgaon, he represented India in Stanford and became the ninth best overall speaker. That's the ninth best open speaker, essentially. And today I'm just going to walk through all his journey, like where else has he debated, what has his experience been like, how did he get involved in this sport, and yeah, just learn from him. So Adhiraj, firstly, welcome to the show. And to get you started, I'd love to know, we'll speak about all your achievements across this podcast, but I want to know if you were to introduce yourself, beyond these accomplishments, beyond the skills you have, beyond what you do essentially on a day-to-day basis, who would you be? Who is Adhiraj Singh Johar?
So, hi, my name is Adhiraj. I'm 13. I'm studying in ninth grade at Pathway School, Gurgaon, like currently. So, beyond a debater, I'm just like a student, a person who's passionate about music, um, like a very happy person, I guess. And I think my debating journey has really like been shaped by all of these qualities. Like, I'm a good speaker, I'm a good communicator, I'm a good listener, and those are kind of the reasons why I started debating. I started debating about 2 years ago, so I have like an ample amount of experience. So, um, yeah, that's it.
Okay, my favorite part is the fact that you said I'm a happy person, because as debaters, what happens is that you're really good at spotting issues. So you see a problem and you can just identify issues with that. And sometimes you might find that that makes life a bit gloomy because you see problems everywhere you go, right? But you say you're still happy. Now, is that because you separate your day-to-day life from who you are as a debater, or do you carry debate into your day-to-day life as well?
I feel like I'm a very argumentative person. So if I find something wrong, I will be like using my oh, three things that is wrong with that. Firstly, secondly, thirdly. Like, just generally, I'll speak like a debater, like how I speak in debate. I'll probably have a conversation with you and you'll be like, oh, he does some kind of speaking like that, does debating. So, like, I feel like I carry that debater personality in my real life, but I also remember to like kind of disassociate myself from that and be like more like a student, more like a person, rather than more like a person screaming and just shouting your own opinions out. I try to not be controversial and like have my argumentative skills all.
Fair enough. And so, in that case, what's the secret behind your happiness? Is it music? Is it something else? Is it family? What's that like?
I love being with my family and friends. That they just make me laugh and feel really happy. I love laughing. um, I feel like enjoying my hobbies. Debate also makes me happy. Like, when we're doing a round and I'll be like, yeah, I got that speech. I did that. I did it at 2 a.m. Like, achieving those goals make me happy. Listening to music, playing guitar. I recently learned guitar, so playing guitar also makes me happy, and just talking to people as well.
Fair enough. And you said you've been debating for 2 years. What was your first exposure to debate like?
So in our school, we basically have this in intra school competition called Locked Heads, and it's like a student kind of created, like student by a student who's created Locked Heads. And it's this very like basic beginner level competition, and I started it with my like with some people that I didn't even know back then, and I didn't know how to speak. I did one training session and that's it. And I gave it my best shot, and we lost all three rounds. But it was kind of like my first, like, the dip into water, into kind of what debating looked like, because I always thought it was just like public speaking, rhetoric, and stuff like that, using quotes and stuff like that. But it's more about analyzing, like, listening to the other person's speech and refuting what they've said. um and like learning those skills for the first time really helped me kickstart that journey.
Fair enough. And which format was that in for you? Did you like, was it
USDC.
a WSDC? So first ever debate was also in WSDC essentially.
Yeah, like a modified version, which is no reply speaker, no POIs, like a very beginner level competition.
Okay. And what was your journey like from there? Your first ever time debating, losing all three rounds, and
Yeah,
then making the trip all the way to Stanford and doing well.
I feel like, so me and a couple and two other students like formed a team, and then we like did a few boot camps. I think I did an IDL boot camp as well. Like trying to absorb everything and learn the proper ways how to craft a speech, how to use your prep time, how to actually, debate essentially. So I kind of learned that first, and then we started doing more competitions. Like we did the IIT Delhi, Frankenstein
Yep.
2 years
Yep.
ago, then a few Asia Cups as well. Like just getting that experience as like a sixth and seventh grader. And then finally we decided, and I think we were selected to go to Harvard in Boston, like for a competition for the Harvard Invitational 2025. So we were selected, and we were so like, it was like chills, like literal chills. And then we trained so hard, we learned so many things. We went against 17-year-olds at the Harvard College, which really gave us so much experience. And then after that, we started like winning competition. We started getting the top speaker awards because we got that experience, we got that exposure in a physical debate rather than an online debate in a place like Harvard. And training that much, like a week, was very intense. People were having so many fights, it was crazy. But that kind of experience as a whole really helped shape that journey so that we could win titles like Warwick, Asia Cup, Asia Pacific, and Stanford eventually.
And you mentioned there were so many fights, and your face lit up with a smile. And I would like to know what kind of fights were these?
I don't know, like after long hours of training, we were just so tired and we could just take anything and just fight. It was not like, it was fun in its entirety, but there were some mishaps and fights even on the campus itself. So
Okay. And what was it like for you to, I mean, go for your, let's say, first few international tournaments, step on foreign soil and debate? Because that's very different. The culture changes, the people change, the expectations change. How did you manage sort of the fact that, okay, first you've done well at the local level, you've done well in your circuits in Gurgaon, perhaps at the India level. But what changed when you went from India to international, and how did that adapt your training processes?
so you asked me what changed. There's a lot of
Yes.
things that are different from like a local competition and an international competition. So the first is that they kind of, a lot of local competitions here have a shorter speaking time, especially in WSDC and BP. They usually have like a 4 or 5 minute speaking time, but in international competitions, it's like a norm in WSDC and BP competitions that you have an 8 minute time. So that was like, took a while to get used to. And like trying to fill out everything, and use that time because we had 8 minutes to speak, use that time to its entirety and kind of like understand how much of arguments, how much of rebuttals, how much of weighing, how much of like like what time to give POIs, what time to give rhetoric, and like kind of sort that out and create our own structures which fit us best. And then we use that structure to debate internationally. The second is that the competitive level is a lot. Like you can have people ranging from 12-year-olds to maybe 18-year-olds, and it's very unexpected. The motions are also harder, like the motions are more globally rounded rather than locally rounded. Like they can we I remember in Harvard we debated on something called calignosia, which makes you forget how you look. So if you're a conventionally attractive person, you will think of yourself as nothing. Like you won't think of your looks and how that helps society. So you get these types of motions which actually make you really think deep, um, analyze like, oh, what would a life like that be like? So there's a lot of things different. There's in an international competition where it's physical, you get to meet a lot of people, you get to see people from different backgrounds, debate against them, their opinions as well. We met a lot of people and we really enjoyed our time there.
Are you still in touch with the friends you made over there?
uh Not really, but we had some fun moments with them.
So what I do, and this is so random, honestly, I don't even think I'm in a podcast, and I just feel like I'm having a like chat with you right now. But when I go for any tournaments for any reason, or go to another country, of course, networking is a big element of your learning process, and it really helps you to have that global connect. So I carry this QR code on my home screen and lock screen, which makes people connect with me or text me on WhatsApp or something of that nature, and I connect with them right away. And I try to have at least six follow-ups with them or conversations with them across the next few months, so that there is a warm connect over there for whenever I want to pick back up in the future. And I think my recommendation to you or anybody else watching this is like to have that system, because your global connects will really improve, because again you've gotten that exposure, but just like you're growing right now and you'll go for other debates, so you have other opportunities, a lot of other individuals will as well, and you can learn by hearing other people's experiences too. So I totally recommend that on the first part. On the second part, which is more sort of coming back to the podcast itself, I want to know what was your biggest, let's say, learning curve when it came to Stanford. Like, what happened over there that makes you a better debater now, essentially?
What was my learning curve in Stanford? That um okay, so first it was an online competition, which means that it was in the US time zone. So the time zone change between that um was a lot to handle. Like being up at 3 a.m. doing a debate was like essentially mind blowing to me. It was a different experience altogether. And like my recommendation to anyone who's doing those type of competitions is to be willing to do them. Like you have to, like it's a learning curve for sure, how to control yourself, then how to not like rage out and go crazy, how to not just fall asleep in the middle of your speech. You have to be willing, you have to have that real passion to actually do it. You have to be like, you have to have that motive, you have to have that drive. You have to also have your like KFC and cold coffee on your side as well, just to keep you awake. So you have to be really willing to, and like make sure you have that drive in you. Another thing in Stanford was, I guess that there was there were a lot of competitors that were older than us. And it took us a while how to learn. Like it took us 2 3 rounds to understand how they speak, how like what terms they use and like stuff like that, how they structure their speeches. Because like we are taught in a different way than they are taught, because like all over the world debate is taught differently. So we had to kind of adapt to how they speak, how they organize their speeches
For
as
you
well.
to develop this point a bit further, could you elaborate on how or what you've experienced in terms of debate coaching and what you saw happen over there, just so the viewers also understand?
Yeah. So, um, in debate coaching in India, I kind of like we were always told that, oh, you need to be heavy on your rhetoric, you need to have quotes, you need to be like, you have to keep the debate engaging, you have to not be boring, essentially, right? You have to like add hooks, make it eye catch, like make it engaging, right?
Yes.
And speak in that style to keep it engaging, like speak louder, speak like faster, like that. But in like international tournaments, for example, Stanford, um that weightage, that to the manner bit of judging wasn't as much. And like you can feel it, like most speeches that we heard didn't include quotes or rhetoric or hooks, and wasn't necessarily engaging. Like it was more about what you were saying rather than how you were saying it.
Controversial question. Did you find some of the speeches boring?
Yes.
So,
um
all this to say that the difference in approach was that they are boring and we are not. Is that true?
um I mean, some speeches were, since it's 8 minutes long, sitting listening to a monotone voice speaking for 8 minutes is kind of tiring. But I think we are more used to like making our speeches like really intense and really heavy on um, making it engaging, and they are more on what you're actually saying and your content.
And where do you find the balance personally? Like now, okay, of course, if you're going to Stanford, perhaps again you'll be trying not to have as much rhetoric, even if you have some rhetoric, and focusing more on the matter and what you say, things of that nature. And of course, if you're continuing to debate in India, you might add a bit more masala to it, which is essentially just spiciness for any international person watching. But when it comes to you and what you prefer, what do you think is the place of like manner and matter and these kind of things in an actual debate where the average voting citizen is present, not the judge who's learned debate and calls himself an average voting citizen, but the genuine average voting citizen?
What is the balance, essentially?
Yes. What's your sort of like thought process on what makes a good debaters or good debate speech?
What makes a good debater? I feel like you have to be well, like you have to know how to, I guess, understand what type of competition you're in. So if you're in a specific type of competition which is international, you have to kind of adapt to that. You have to speak in a certain way and a certain style. You can't speak fast because those judges might not understand how that, how like they can't really understand fast speaking. And in Indian debates it's very traditional, like if you see any Indian debater who has a 4-minute timer, they do they do speak fast, like really fast. So you have to learn how to do that. You have to learn how to slow down, how to fit all your content.
Interesting.
You The second thing is that if an average person is watching your debate, try to keep it engaging. I feel like you need to have that hook in the beginning to keep them like, oh, this is a good speaker, I think I like him. You need to like be charismatic. You need to understand how to keep it engaging, but also don't forget that the contents of your speech also matter. And if they don't, they matter more, like they matter more than your rhetoric. So try to focus most of your time on that in prep time rather than like using too much um rhetoric.
And
And
do you have a favorite motion and a least favorite motion from Stanford, or just okay? I think you know what. From all of your international debates, do you have like a favorite motion and do you have a least favorite motion?
I feel like my favorite motions are already uh, I don't have like a single favorite motion, but I have a favorite topic,
Okay.
like favorite genre of
Theme,
motion,
let's
which
say
is,
yes.
yeah, like favorite genre of motions, which is like politics and international relations. I feel like that interests me a lot. And um, debates with those kind of motions, I already know a lot of the topic. Like, I feel like I can debate a lot on those motions. My least favorite motions is act emotions, which are, if anyone doesn't know, a motion where you have to take on a personality. Like, you'll be given a motion as an dash, like as an economist, as a regular civilian, as a politician. um you'll be given that like act, and you have to take that on and debate as that person and use the opinions that that person would have. I feel like those motions are always harder, a little bit harder to do. And I just prefer motions which are more like international relations related, or politics or something.
I think the internet started acting up, if I could say that. But yes, what were your thoughts on act emotions?
I feel like act emotions, you basically have to take on the personality of a person. So, for example, the motion will say this house as the person you have to act as, like as a general civilian, as a politician, as an economist, as a dash. Okay, so you'll be given a role and then you have to act upon it. Act emotions I just find like relatively hard, and I feel like it's easier to just not take that roll up and just debate as you are. But as an actor motion, like, it's just not fun. I personally don't like it. Maybe some people like it, maybe some
Some
people.
people are sitting right in front of you, by the way. I love act
Oh,
emotions.
really?
I love act emotions, and there's a good reason. Oh, you're nodding your head in disappointment, is it? No, I think act emotions are brilliant because it firstly makes a person like empathize with different parties, or like look at it from their perspective, which I don't think other emotions necessarily do at the same to the same extent, is the way I put it. And they are interesting because it allows you to be quite creative, I think, in your arguments and extensions. So let's see what your experiences are as you go forward. What kind of actor motions have you done so far? Like, do you have any example?
um I told you before, calignosia.
Yeah.
In Harvard, we got a motion: this house as a conventionally attractive woman would take calignosia. And calignosia is a drug which basically makes you forget how good looking you are. And we were on the proposition side, which is technically a harder side, because you want to benefit the conventionally attractive woman. You don't want to worsen her experience. You could, on the opposition, you could just like say, oh, pretty privilege, so that benefits the conventionally attractive woman, so therefore you win. That motion was really hard, um, to
Reconcile with, yeah.
kind of understand. We were so confused on what to run, how to run it.
So which
So
argument did you run?
just like society would be overall better. So, for example, if everyone takes calignosia, which was our kind of fault, like, why would everyone take calignosia? So that was our kind of thing that the opposition just bombarded us on. But our argument was that if everyone takes calignosia, there would be no discrimination based on looks anymore. There would be no racism. There would be no no pretty privilege. There would be no white supremacy. They would, like, nothing of that
Did
sort
you
would
argue
exist.
why pretty privilege is bad as well?
Because it gives you an unfair chance just because you look good, not based on your skills. Like,
Okay.
for example, if you're getting a job, you would prefer a person that, like, in some cases, that is of a particular race, and you don't pick a person who is of another race because they don't, like, because you just don't want to. But if you take calignosia, they take calignosia, then everyone will be like, like it'll just stop that. But that was kind of our fault. That
I
why would
see.
everyone take it?
Yeah. I think that's also there. And I think there's also the question of, generally speaking, conventionally attractive people choose professions where conventional attraction has a function in making sort of revenue be generated or success happen in businesses. So it's very, I think it's interesting. I think this is quite a curious motion for me as well, perhaps, to dive into, and very interesting. So going back to, the kind of experiences you had with your teammates and things like that. Like what kind of case prep did you all do before going for Stanford as a whole, and what were your like prep times looking like?
Um, so um, like 2 days before the competition, we had gotten our um, prepared motions. So there were a few prep motions. I think there were two prep motions in the preliminary rounds. So we got it 2 days before. When originally I think we were supposed to get it a week before. So we got it late. Um, and the website said that you would get the prepared motions like a week before, and we didn't. So we were so confused, and we got it 2 days late. Now we were not prepared. So, and we were still in school. Like we were in school, and we kind of had to beg teachers to let us miss the lesson. Like me and my partner Anaya, we are in the same school. We are in pathways, but our third teammate Kian, he's in the British school. So me and Anaya kind of made our cases and everything, and we told Kian, and then Kian was like, "I didn't make the case." And we were like spending so much time. We on the day off, because Stanford was at night, so the day off on Friday, we made our prep speeches for both the prelim,
Preliminary rounds. Yeah.
preliminary rounds.
You got this.
And
Yeah.
since there were two rounds, you had to make four speeches. So we had to make four 8-minute speeches, and like kept on reading it to each other. Then we'd be like, no, this doesn't look nice. That doesn't feel nice. This is not it. We need to run another argument. We need to do this. We need to do that. So it was like really hectic. And our prep time kind of looked very confusing. Like not a general prep time. Like you wouldn't think of a prep motion being that hectic. Um,
So
that
what's the process like? So okay, there's when you say hectic, I'm imagining there's mental panic, right? So I understand that there's one is, your state of mind, which is panicky. But what was the actual process like? Like when you see a motion, what's your next few steps as Adhiraj or as the team that you went in as? Like, do you all have a modus operandi?
So, as a team, we would first look at the motion and start understanding what it was. We'd go to different websites, we'd go to Google, we'd go to, I don't know, even ChatGPT. We'd go to them, and then we'll put in the motion, and then we'll be like, help me understand what this is. So I remember for Stanford, we got a motion for the first prepared round as this house as the European Union, which is another actor motion. This
Yes.
house as the European Union regrets the decline of Atlanticism. And Atlanticism is basically the connect between the US and Europe. So we were understanding what Atlanticism is. We were looking through different resources and finally came to a conclusion like, oh, now we understand. Like we got a full rounded perspective of what this means. Now let's first start on proposition. We'd um, fill in the first speaker's speech. We'd do all the definitions, all the framing. We'd frame our thoughts. And we'd work together essentially on the first speaker's speech. And then we'd move on to individually, then we'd move on to kind of creating the arguments and then dividing it, and then we do the further analysis on our own. So in an impromptu round, there was a motion, this house regrets the rise of AI therapy, and like we had 1 hour, so we would take the first 10 minutes to understand what this motion was. Like we go to Google and understand what it was, or we'd ask each other. But for this motion it was very plain sighted, like okay, AI therapy. So we didn't really waste time in that motion to understand. Instead, what we did was like we worked as a team. We got on a separate call other than the actual Zoom meeting that Stanford was on. So we got on a separate call. We like kind of understood um, like each other's thoughts, each other's perspectives. We'd quickly name our arguments. We'd frame the status quo, and then we'd go on our own and analyze those arguments and fully flesh out our speeches. So it was kind of like a mix between teamwork and individual.
Okay, so it's like a hybrid approach. Fair enough. And I can see that the actor motion is haunting you a bit here and there. But okay, apart from, so you mentioned you have a favorite genre of motions as well, which was international relations related, right? And I would like to know, where does this curiosity for what's happening in the world come from?
So initially it comes from my dad. He watches a lot of news. He knows a lot of like he's very interested in that. So he kind of introduced it to me. We started watching news every day on the TV. We started discussing about what India's getting into. We're discussing about, whoa, this trade agreement happened. Like NATO's doing this, the UN's doing that. Like we kind of every day kind of had our own mini debate
Yeah.
about what's going on in the world. Every day we'd watch news. So that's where the interest kind of built up. Um, and then I kind of took it forward, started researching, watching documentaries on it because it just felt really interesting and I felt really inclined to it. I did some MUNs, which also like helped with that international relations thing. Like I did the HMUN, which was held in Gurgaon, and I got outstanding delegate, but that's beside the point. I like really found an inclination in me to international relations and what the world is up to and the strategies of these countries.
And what was your experience? What do you think of Model UN? And I'm going to ask you a even more controversial question. First time exclusive Adhiraj's opinion, Model UN versus debate.
I knew you were gonna ask that. I knew it. Okay. Debate by far for me is better.
Yeah. But
Model United Nation is still very interesting, and I'd be willing to do an MUN as well.
fair enough. So you're not, even though you have a preference, that doesn't mean you're choosing a side you
Yeah,
guys for,
like
essentially.
if there's a MUN, I'll be like happy to do it. It's still interesting. It's still fun, and you get to meet a lot of people. It's not just like a 3v3 or like a
Yeah.
4v4.
There's a higher
It's
social, yeah, element to it.
yeah, it's like a whole group of people, and it's not just a group of people. It's actually a group of countries, and like just researching for the MUN, knowing about the country stance, like drafting your GSL.
I'd
That's all.
imagine that you would not like model UNs because model UNs by default are like actor motions. This house as Argentina would X and Y and Z. So it's interesting that you say that. But um, I think your approach is very pragmatic. I've heard debaters and manas both have sort of swords out for each other, but I think that's a pragmatic approach which definitely should be adopted. Yeah.
Yeah. But like for me, debate is just better. You get emotion, you get a random topic on the spot. It's just exhilarating, it's exciting. Meanwhile, Model United Nations, you get like months,
Eons. Yeah.
maybe months to prepare, and it's not really that same excitement. Even though
Fair.
it's
What about crisis committees?
I've never been in a crisis committee.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I've like just done MUNs where I'm in a really boring committee.
Well,
um
people in it, to be fair, so you've got
yeah.
to make it interesting.
But
Yeah.
last time in HMUN, I had a few of my friends from my school, so that was fun.
And fun. Fair enough.
But most of the times, like when I did an MUN, it was not really fun. Because the people in my committee were really boring. So
Fair enough. Okay, coming back to debate as a whole, you mentioned that you like public speaking as well, isn't it? What is your experience there like, essentially?
I haven't really done public speaking like competitions or something like that, but like emceeing for the school, speaking for an event or something like that, giving a speech, not really a debate, just a speech. That's also fun, and that's talkative side of me comes out. Like I'll be able to act dramatically and like fully go in. Um, so that kind of side of me gets thrown out, and that's why I like it. But I haven't really done too much in that area.
Fair enough. Coming back to like pure debate in that case, what kind of formats that you've tried or watched online, and do you have a preference over WSDC yet, or is that your one and true love at the moment?
So here's the thing. WSDC is a very like normal style of debate. Like everyone knows like every debater you see probably knows WSDC. It's a very standard kind of form of debate. And it's fun because you have like a whole team, you have three people. And the rounds are also like really fun and short, I guess. But BP for me, I feel like it's more like um I'm trying to think of a word. Uh like interesting to do, because like if you're doing a BP competition, it's just you and one other person, and you have to take on the role of the first or the third speaker. That's technically what it is. There's no second speaker. So that kind of thing works out, and all the BP debates I've done, I've been first speaker, which is outside of my comfort zone. So that's also really fun to explore that format and understand that this also exists. And the the BP format has 8 people in one round, which is also very chaotic. And you'll be hoping that, oh, you go last, you like go CG or CO, like that kind of like position in a BP debate is very fun. But my preference is WSDC over BP, and then under BP public forum, because I remember watching a public forum debate and it did not look fun.
Okay, and is there a reason why public forum did not seem appealing to you?
It was more formal than the other two. Like I feel like WSDC you can be really chill, BP you can be really chill, like you can speak like you normally do. You don't need to be really formal, but like in public forum it was research based. You had to find facts and statistics, and it wasn't really like like even if it was impromptu, you have to go on to deep into the research of it, um which is like I feel like analyzing it and using your own logic is far more like easier and interesting than just researching about it.
And let's talk about Stanford itself. Did you go in expecting that you will rank the way you did, or what was that like? What was the experience like in that case?
I okay, so in the second round I fumbled, so I got a POI, and I couldn't hear the person as well. Like it was very faint voice. So I kept on like, could you repeat? Could you repeat? Could you repeat? And I didn't understand it. And then they were like, I just didn't understand what the POI was. It was framed in a weird way, and I fumbled. I was just like, okay, moving on. Like I completely like blanked out, and that's a case for many debaters as well. Like when you're put on the spot with a POI, it kind of gets like in your head, and you just can't find an answer. So I really did not expect me after that round. Like after that round, I was so like, I was gonna be like, I I'm quitting the debate. I don't like this. I can't do this. This is not my skill set. I am not good for this. And mind you, this was at 2 a.m. in the morning. So it was bad. Like I felt really bad about myself. But then after seeing the ranks, I was kind of like, there must be like another Adhiraj Singh Johar there. There must be, because really did not expect it. I thought I would be like dead last, hundredth contestant. I did not think I would end up doing that good. So that was my reaction.
And how were the other debates? Because of course it's the sum of all. So what were the other debates like?
They went well. They were chaotic, but we won, I think, 4 rounds. Yeah. They were good. They, like, we went against like 16, 17 year olds, which made it a bit harder, but we took on that challenge.
How do you reconcile that? When you're a 13-year-old going up against a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old, what are your thoughts going on, like, in your mind?
It's intimidating. It's just like scary as well, that, oh, they're so much older, and we're only 13. How do you think we can do this? And like, just questioning ourselves inside our heads, like, why would we choose this competition? Why are we going up against these people? Like, this is crazy, because it's very, like, weird. People seeing us and being like, oh, that's not even a competition. They're 13, what are they going to do, what are they going to say? And beating those people was like crazy. Like, after every round, me, Anaya, and Kian called each other and we were like, oh my god, we did that, we beat those people, imagine, like 17-year-olds. So yeah, that's how I
Cool.
went.
And do you have a message for other 13-year-olds? Because, of course, now you experienced this and you didn't expect it, but you just went for the win regardless. You went for the kill and see what happens. And once you've done it, now I'm sure if you go for another debate and you have people who are far elder to you in front of you, you won't underestimate yourself.
Yeah.
Now, being in that position where you know that age might just be a number at certain points, what is your message to yourself before you entered that tournament, if you had a chance to speak to yourself, and therefore anybody else who's not sort of undertaken a challenge of this gravitas?
So my message is that don't underestimate yourself. That's the first thing. You need three things before you enter in that kind of situation. Like going up against elders, going up against a tough team, an experienced team. You need to realize that I speak in a certain style. I have a certain structure, and I'm not gonna change that. I will speak in the accent I speak in. I'll speak in the way I speak in. Um, and I'm not gonna change that just because I'm gonna go against these people. Like, stay original, stay you. That's the first message. The second thing is that you need to have that passion. I already said this before. If you're doing a debate like this, you need to aim for that goal. Like, you need to aim like, oh, we are going to do this. We are going to do this properly. Don't do it like our team did. Don't prepare a day before. Like, remember, like, to prepare well, like, be confident, and then keep on reminding yourself that, oh, I'm prepared for this. We've done so much of this. I've practiced too much. I've understood the concept well. I know the topic, I know the motion, and just give it your best shot. And even if you lose, it's still a milestone that you're debating at that scale. It's still a big thing that you're competing and you're willing to compete. And like, even that participation certificate is like a huge thing. So don't undermine yourself after you lose a debate. There are many more opportunities. Like, every year there are maybe millions of debates going on. And remember, you can always better your skills. You can always train harder. You can always, like, go deep into a specific area. You can always practice and do more. So like there's always an opportunity for you to do that. And like places like for example IDL and like even other training agencies, they've opened those opportunities, like, oh, you can train, you can do these competitions, you can like uh, like at least get that experience. And experience in a like a place like Stanford is really beneficial. Like you just debating against 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, like people who are older than you, like even that, just the experience of doing that is more than what the title is. Like just having that experience is good enough. Like you should be happy that you did that.
Fair enough. And I'm curious to know. You mentioned all these things about what are required as traits and mindsets and things of that nature when you're that young, going up against youngsters. But that also means that you have a lot of time ahead of you now. You've already had your first few debates done. You've had a couple of good accolades come in. What's next for you when it comes to your debating career and perhaps just generally academically?
For me,
Yes.
okay, so I feel like now that now that I've experienced so much in the competitive level, I feel like now I'm ready to kind of step forward as the judge, like judging smaller competitions. And that's an area that I really want to do because I feel like it'll be really fun. Because I've been in spaces where there are so many biased judges, there's so many judges which have no clue what the motion is, judges which log out in the middle of the meeting, and judges who don't care and play Subway Surfers on a phone. This is a real experience.
That's crazy.
And don't listen to your speeches. And stepping into that space, maybe we can correct those things and give a fair experience.
Do you
And
have
also,
ambitions of trying out for Team India as well?
ISTS.
Yes.
Yes, I tried in this year, but I was waitlisted. So no, I tried in last year. Sorry. Now this year I'll try again.
Fair enough. Yeah. So you're gonna try adjing and then going for the ISDS badge as well, I assume.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And what about academically? Like, do you see yourself like now? I know again we've spoken about this in the middle a bit, but since the podcast doesn't know, I'd love to know where do you see your academic ventures shape up eventually?
Academically, I'm in ninth grade. And like this, just stepping into like the high school experience is scary because now everything counts for colleges and for your future and your marks and everything. So academically, I think I don't know. I feel
I don't know.
like,
It's a great answer, so don't worry about that. But yeah,
yeah, I really don't know how this year and how the future will go, but relatively I feel confident in my ability to study hard and actually do well academically. For the future, for like colleges and stuff, I'm looking towards careers in international relations, as I talked to you about this before, because it kind of is an inclination for me. Maybe even like brand strategy, business, and marketing. That also kind of interests me, how these brands get their message out there. And law as well, which is criminal law, which is
oh, specific, interesting.
so like I feel interesting, but I know like you can't just watch Suits and tell yourself, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do law." You have to be,
Especially for criminal law. Hey, that be careful over there, especially for criminal law because suits was being more corporate law related. Yeah.
yeah. So like you have to be sure about law, but I'm still keeping my options open, and I'm still ready for like any academic hit.
Fair enough. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. I think I'm going to ask you one more question, which is probably the most important question that I'm ever going to ask you. If you
Yeah.
could summarize your debating experience in Stanford in a song, which song would that be?
I was not prepared for this question.
That's the game. I'm trying to put you on the spot just like that POI did once.
Uh, a song for Stanford.
Yes. You can take as much time as you need, by the way. We can stay right here. We'll be right back after a break. I'll add like a sponsor over here, which we don't have right now, but hey, if you're a sponsor, reach out.
um, Song for Stanford. Um, I don't know. Wait.
We've had people, so I'll give you some examples of what we've had in the past. Because I ask these kind of interesting questions is the way I'd put it all the time. So I've asked movies, I've asked songs, I've asked all kinds of things. There have been people who've come in with like Eminem raps at points. Some people have come in with like country music or Taylor Swift or something of that nature too. So it's just an open board.
Um. Okay. This is gonna be so random. Okay. There's this one particular song. Um. It's called Crazy Frog.
I know Crazy Frog.
It's this weird song. Um. I don't know. It just depicts the entire journey.
What?
Like really hyper, really like fast paced, like exhilarating, exciting. Like the day of Stanford, I remember my like not. I think it was the second day of Stanford. My parents had to go out for dinner, so they dropped me off at Anaya's house, which is really close by where I live. So we were just like having the time of our lives, just having so much fun, and that fast-paced song kind of brings that out.
Okay, Crazy Frog. I think I love Crazy Frog, and that's a good answer. It's worth the time you took to think it. So, uh,
Yeah.
thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and
Okay.
I hope to
So
speak
much
with
fun.
you again very soon.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.